Hey, how you doing today? This is Armament Dog 2388, henceforth going to be known as LSEM Aldacar. So here at Lightspeed Endurance Motorsports, we're all about helping people get faster and having fun. So today we've got a tips video for you. This is going to be the start of a series of tips videos that we're going to do on assists. And today we're going to cover two of them. We're going to be covering suggested line and the braking assists, and the benefits of having them turned on, and the drawbacks of having them turned on, as well as the benefits and drawbacks of having them turned off. So we're going to start off with the suggested line. And by the way, props to Stoic 56 for the vinyl groups that made that paint job pop. So here we go. The first lap is, like I said, all about the braking line. So you probably heard me mention before in another video that you should never follow the braking line religiously. And the reason for that is because although it's a good suggestion, it's not the fastest way every turn you take. So it comes down to knowing when to follow it, when not to follow it, if you have it turned on. And you also have to recognize when there's a better way. Sometimes that better way is not always called for. So one of the first areas that we're going to look at, if you watch the suggested line real quick as we go up here towards the corkscrew, you're going to notice that I don't exactly hit the brakes right when it tells me to, nor do I follow the line. Right here, I kind of stay to the right of it a little bit, and I go straight into the corkscrew without sticking to the left and then crossing over to the right as the suggested line suggests. And then coming up on this last turn, you're going to notice that I try to carry it out a little bit wide. Now, part of the reason that I'm not able to pull this off is because I'm actually braking at my normal brake point, and I normally race with ABS turned off. And with it turned on, your braking zones are extended, so I'm having a little bit of trouble kind of getting used to that in these first couple of laps. So some of these turns aren't nearly as clean as they could be, but we'll get to that here in a minute. So as we come up to the corkscrew again, this is what I want you to look at. You have a rumble strip to the left coming up the hill, and that's where it tells you to start for your entrance into the corkscrew. And it tells you to kind of switch over to the right side to set up for the left turn into the corkscrew. Instead, what I try to do is I ride a line straight across instead of following the rumble strip and sticking to the left. I tap it, and then I immediately aim for the sign at the top of the hill that says 3. So right here, I tap it, I veer off to the right, and there's that sign, and I go straight into the corkscrew. I almost aim directly at the apex. Now, it's a very slow turn, so you can actually afford to do that, and with ABS turned off, it's a lot easier to pull off, especially in a heavier car like a Porsche. And also, coming up here in a minute, we're going to cover ABS, and you'll see exactly how I really think this corner right here should be taken when the line is there. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take a minute here, and we're going to go ahead and adjust the assists. So for these next couple of laps, we're going to be running with the braking line turned on, but only to braking only. And we're still going to run ABS. And we're also going to be running this telemetry. Now I want you to watch up here in the corner, the steering wheel right there, and then the brake percentage. You see that in the bottom right of the telemetry there. That's what I want you to keep your eye on as we demonstrate what ABS actually does for you. And coming up this turn here, up this straightaway, coming into turn 1, and I'm going to hit the brakes. And right there you see I go up to about 80%, and I'm able to turn the wheel as much as possible. I'm actually able to turn the tires to get the car to change its attitude. And right there you see I got a good squeeze on the brakes. This time it goes up to about 90%. And another thing I want you to notice as we come into this next left-hander up here is watch what happens as I start to turn the car. Now there's 100% brake pressure, and right there, you see that little slide. You know, this is because I'm braking traction. I'm applying 100% brake pressure, and I'm trying to turn at the same time. Now, this becomes a problem because you have to think of it this way. Your tires have a total of 100% peak grip, or traction, is what we're going to call it. We're just going to call it, they say that it's 100% traction. And for every action that you perform in the car, you're using up a percentage of that traction. So if you try to turn, you're going to use a certain percent. If you're braking, you're going to use a certain percent to brake. And if you're accelerating, and so on. But if you try to do more than one thing at one time, it's going to break traction. So now, you've seen what you can do with ABS turned on. Now we're going to turn it off. And we're going to take a lap here. And you'll notice that most of the turns that I went through there, I was applying almost 100% brake pressure, if not completely maxed. Now that ABS is turned off, we're going to see how I can brake through turn 1. Now watch, here we go. Hit the same braking point, but look at that. I only hit about 60, maybe 70% of the brakes, and I slowed down exponentially faster. This is a big deal when you're talking about how fast you're going around a track, because what ABS actually does for you is when you mash on the brakes at 100%, it causes the brakes to pulse. What the pulsing actually does is it keeps you from locking up your brakes, rather your wheels. When you lock your wheels up, they're locked in the forward position because you're applying too much brake pressure, and you can no longer turn the wheel. And you're going to see that when we come around to the front straight. I'm going to demonstrate it for you. But the problem with getting that extra turning ability while you're putting on such heavy braking is that it extends your braking zone due to the fact that these pulses leave small milliseconds in the time that you're pressing the brakes where the brakes aren't actually fully pressed, so you're not getting 100% efficiency out of your brakes. This extends your brake line, which also increases your lap time. Turning ABS off prevents that. And you see right there, I intentionally locked up the brakes there. And I tried to turn the wheel. If you're watching the telemetry, I tried to turn it, but I couldn't. Now watch here. I hit the brakes again. I'm turning. And then as soon as I let go, I'm able to turn again. So the way to compensate for this is to have a little bit more touch on the trigger. And this is something that comes with a little bit of practice, and you'll have to get used to it. But if you're using a regular Xbox One controller, there's actually a little trick. The sweet spot can be found if you use the meat of your finger, not the tip, to squeeze the trigger. And the tip of your finger, when doing that, will eventually come to rest on the back of the controller, and that is the perfect spot for most cars. You can adjust your brakes for your brake pressure to kind of compensate for consistency, but other than that, that's a good sweet spot. So all that being said, and I just thought of something too. Another way it was explained to me is when you're in your own car, you don't ever actually press the brakes all the way down to slow down when you're going down the freeway. You only press them down a portion of the way. So that's another way to think about it as well. Now you notice here that I turned the suggested line off. And the reason I wanted to do that and take a lap here is because I wanted to kind of emphasize the importance of turning off that braking line in stages. With the braking line set to full, your brain is going to have a natural tendency to try to keep you on that line. You're gonna do it subconsciously, whether you're trying to or not. I mean, a little trip to the beach there. One of the side effects of not having the line turned on. But you really can't help it. Your brain just you're almost always trying to keep it on the line. But as you turn the line to braking only and eventually turn it off, you basically free your mind up to figure out how to go around the track yourself. So that's pretty much all I've got for you today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and look us up on Mixer. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you have a